That Les Paul guitar noise turned the world upside down. Oh yeah, the music made me do it. Not a damn thing I can do. Oh yeah, the music made me do it. Now I'm gonna do it to you. Everybody loves the groove. You got to get up and move and take it into your soul. You couldn't tear me away. I need it every day. I love the rock and roll. It grabbed me by the balls when I heard the blues. Chuck Berry did a lay, a little Richard too. Oh yeah, the music made me do it. Not a damn thing I can do. Oh yeah, the music made me do it. Now I'm gonna do it to you. I'm gonna do it to you. The music made me do it every time. Oh yeah, the music made me do it. Not a damn thing I can do. Oh yeah, the music made me do it. Now I'm gonna do it to you. I said, oh yeah, the music made me do it. Not a damn thing I can do. Oh yeah, the music made me do it. Now I'm gonna do it to you. You couldn't fantasize of that brand new sound. That Les Paul guitar noise turned the world upside down. Oh yeah, the music made me do it. Not a damn thing I can do. Oh yeah, the music made me do it. Now I'm gonna do it to you. Everybody loves the groove. You got to get up and move and take it into your soul. You couldn't tear me away. I need it every day. I love the rock and roll. It grabbed me by the balls when I heard the blues. Chuck Berry did a lay, a little Richard too. Oh yeah, the music made me do it.
Great job. Ted Nugent, where's Ted Nugent? Where's Ted? Huh? Look at you. You doing well? You are a handsome devil. Thank you. Great job, Ted. Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here.
And now, it's time for Ted Nugent's Spirit Campfire with John Brankus. It's the physics of spirituality with attitude.
The conservative family entrepreneur shit kickers who are in the asset column of America at Patriot Mobile. Brankus, a greetings and a happy November 12th to you, sir. How are you today in this crazy upside down bat nuts world?
I don't know what you're talking about. How could the world possibly be upside down? It's funny because at this point, you almost don't have to have conversations with anyone. You're just kind of like, I know.
I still have conversation. I got to tell you, Brankus, you have to admit, you probably only had a sliver of a hint of what you were getting into. But amongst the chaos and the vapor trail of positive energy attitude and middle fingers on fire, roasting marshmallows of the spirit at long range, you got to get a kick out of this. Is this Spirit Campfire not a kick? I think Courtney, I think Herbert, I think everybody at the Spirit Campfire, if nothing else, I provide a kick, don't I?
Yeah, you do provide a kick. You provide a lot of kick to a lot of people. I got a question. Are you going down to D.C. this weekend?
God knows I'd like to, and I've only been receiving hundreds of thousands of invitations. But this time of year, I have really plowed into the campaign for this great president. I've done everything in my superhuman powers to accomplish that. But a man, I think we can quote our favorite and the most important philosopher of all times, Dirty Harry, when he says a good man knows his limitations. And right now, John, I got here in such a flurry. I think the gravel roads between me right now at the Nugent Man Cave Cuckoo's Nest Spirit Campfire and my daughter Sasha's house, where Shemaine cooked up this wonderful meal of my mom's old recipe of chicken and noodles and mashed potatoes and just this wonderful goo. Yep. And Sasha and her family just landed in Michigan with my grandkids. My whole family is coming here for the big annual November 15th Michigan Firearms Deer Opener. And as much as I would love to be in Lansing, Michigan to stop the steal, because there's a big steal going on, thievery is amongst us, and I would love to be in Washington, D.C. to show the Nugent family support. But I don't know if you can see in the Spirit Campfire, but see those eyes? I qualify as fully schnookered. I am really, really tired. I'm admitting I'm tired. I'm not worn out, and I'm not giving up, but I'm really tired. I just hauled ass to Sasha's, got a fire in their fireplace so the kids and my daughter and her wonderful husband and their dog got home. Shemaine is serving them this beautiful hot meal right now, and I hauled ass 11 miles back to the Cuckoo's Nest to do the Spirit Campfire. And I have an obligation to my grandkids. They wait all year for this. My sister Kathy's coming. Yeah. So everybody knows what Ted Nugent stands for and how hard I work for freedom and the real America, the constitutional God, family, country, law and order America. So I have a funny feeling that all the positive shit kickers who are there know that I am with them.
That's right. And you are. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be playing Ted Nugent music, and a lot of people are going to be emanating positive energy, which is awesome. I wanted to do a quick roll call here. Yes. We have North Carolina. We have Georgia, my state. Now this
important state. North Carolina, important. Georgia, important. Absolutely.
I know. We got Oklahoma. We've got
Oklahoma,
Texas.
great.
We have New Jersey.
I love New Jersey. There are some real hardcore, heart and soul conservative shit kickers in New Jersey. My buddy Steve, Will Jimeno, who was buried on 9/11 at the towers, and they extracted Will Jimeno, and he's a bow hunting friend of mine. We keep in touch. So I have heart and soul connections. You can't name a geographical location where Uncle Ted doesn't have some blood brothers. So it's great to hear that all these people are part of this.
Yeah, listen, the whole country is watching. And one thing about the Spirit Campfire I will tell you is now that the election is over, it's no secret the suppression faucet got dramatically reduced.
Have they really?
Sad. It is, and it's very it's sad that we have to say that, but it's true. So what's interesting is how many people and how many comments and how many folks I encounter who are like, you know what I watched this weekend? I watched Spirit Campfire. I didn't realize that was out there. And it's touching people, and it's growing, and it's just amazing because you and I have not been running in the same circles, And as those circles overlap and we see, look, there are great people here, there are great people there, it's awesome that people get to experience the positive energy of the Spirit Campfire.
You know, and I've mentioned it many times because I'm a loving, giving, caring, pursuit of omniscient kind of guy. And John, I'm proud to share this campfire with you. Your team, Herbert and Courtney, and certainly my Linda and Doug and Toby and everybody that's part of this, technological maneuver here are really positive people. But you notice when we first met, even though we've never met in person, we have the spirituality. We haven't quite got the physics yet. And that will come soon enough. But I never asked, what do you believe in? I never asked where you stand. I never asked what your religion was. I never asked what your political stand was. I never asked because as I meet people in my life, and I've been so honored and moved and privileged to meet so many people, I have a radar. Being clean and sober your whole life makes the radar work good and pick up accurate information most of the time, human error being what it is. And within minutes, I can tell, is this person friendly? Is he smiling? Is this person engaging in dialogue where he respects my stand? And if he has a different stand, I consider his stand, and there's never any snarling going on. It really doesn't matter how one conducts their life in their personal life. What really matters is how a person conducts their life when they encounter other people, and whether they're respectful, tolerant, understanding, and again, positive and kind. Goodwill and decency goes a long way. So I think that's what we share here, John. And I thank you for being a part of this and helping me launch this. It was your idea originally, and I think the feedback we get from people all around this world is indicative of the overt positive spirit of the Nugent Campfire. So God bless you, Brankus.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ted. It's been an awesome adventure, and it's really been interesting and challenging. There are a lot of people who jump to conclusions, and like you, I have a very good radar, and I'm still waiting for you to say or do something that I'm like, I'm out of here. But
well, I could be a smart ass, but after a few minutes of my smart ass perfection, the most understanding individual goes, yeah, he's a smart ass, but it's kind of cute. when he's really being a smart ass, it's kind of like a beautiful stuffed teddy bear that the dog might have thrown up on, but you're still your teddy bear.
You just broke your golden rule, dude. Don't you remember in one of the very first Spirit Campfires, I said, oh, that's cute. And you said nothing about Ted Nugent. Cute.
Well, I think
just broke your own rule.
I think, and by the way, if I'm good at anything, it's breaking my own damn rules.
That's right.
Improvise, adapt, overcome, and break rules. Rules were made to be broken. So, the word cute, I had an old buddy, John Kalash, just one of the most wonderful conservationists and waterfowl habitat visionaries, and he passed away a couple years ago. And whenever I'd bring a deer with a big gaping wound from a broadhead slicing through his vitals, and he'd look at that hole and he'd poke it, he goes, that's cute. So I think the term cute can be applied in many, many different ways.
Yeah, it might have to do with the inflection and context.
Yes. By the way, speaking of cute, boy, we've had some wonderful guests, and I could go down the list, and one of these days we will do a review of the list of guests that have fired up the Spirit Campfire here. But tonight we got a buddy of mine named John Radzwilla, another entrepreneur, visionary, a conservation guy, a guy who rolled the dice with his beautiful wife to create a wonderful magazine that I wasn't aware of until last year. It's called Hook and Barrel, and I think you can get it at most Bass Pro Shops around the country, but it's really a classy magazine because, as we all know, in the sporting, hunting, conservation, outdoor, celebratory lifestyle, you got your Field and Stream and your Outdoor Life and your Sports Afield, and in the old days we had True Magazine and Mechanics Illustrated did a lot of outdoor and conservation stuff, but there's never been like a state-of-the-art, shit-kicker, glossy, adventurous writing and focusing without any politically correct shackles or reservations at all. And John Radzwilla put together this Hook and Barrel magazine. When I first saw it, I went, well, this is almost like a hunting version of Maxim magazine where it's cocky and it's clever and often very cute. And it's got a wide range of topics regarding not just the outdoor lifestyle, but quality of life pursuits. And the response to my writings in Hook and Barrel reflect the response to what John and his wife put together with this magazine. And people love that it's a classy, fun, unafraid magazine. Many times in the old magazines of the sporting world, it was really old-fashioned and old guard and was really predictable. They do a story on the 30-06, then they do a story on the 30-30, then they do another story while the 243 came up and Ducks Unlimited. And very interesting stuff if you're deep into it. But it wasn't a far-reaching, demographic-friendly magazine. So John Radzwilla is going to be our guest tonight because he's a really smart guy and he's an entrepreneur. And whether you want to create a Hook and Barrel magazine or start a bagel shop in Des Moines, Iowa, entrepreneur risk-taking and overcoming challenges, I think, is the battle cry for the American dream and quality of life. And John and his wife created it with Hook and Barrel magazine.
It's really incredible. You know, you've introduced me to the hunting community, and I look forward to joining the on-land hunting community. I'm part of the nautical hunting community.
Sure.
And it's really been incredible. You know, you definitely have not let me down, and those who aren't that exposed to hunting. You know, your introduction and, you know, everyone who's associated with the community has been nothing but a class act, you know, certainly around the Spirit Campfire. And I look forward to meeting another friend of yours because, as you said, you want to have fun, hang out with me and my friends.
Yep. It's, you know, we call it a campfire, and I think we have seen from talking about a vast spread of societal pulsations from Billy Gibbons to Joe Piscopo to Mark Farner to Mitch Ryder to Governor Palin and Governor Huckabee and Governor Perry. Boy, we've covered every base, and I'm so proud of that because that's a reflection of my openness and my unlimited non-profile of the people I hang out with. And if you're going to hang out with people that are positive and are fun to be with and are interesting and challenge you intellectually, and of course humor is the most important thing of all, I think the Spirit Campfire has checked off all the boxes. And I think right now, John Brenkus, I would like to introduce you to my Hook and Barrel blood brother, John Radzwilla. He's on here right now. John, can you hear me? Do we have liftoff?
Uh-oh, he needs to unmute.
Demute that stuff, John.
Demute.
Hey, listen, I only make magazines. I'm not a digital guy.
You're doing a fine job. Radzwilla, welcome to the campfire. We call it the campfire because we do everything but roast marshmallows, literally, but we do it figuratively. Happy November to you. How are you and your beautiful wife doing these days?
Man, we're doing awesome, Ted. It's just a blessing to be working every day and doing what we do and, portraying the lifestyle how we do. And, it's hunting season, so it's getting hard. I mean, I have these obligations like being on these highfalutin shows like yours, Ted. But, I'm trying to get into the tree stand as much as I can. And, man, I've had this one deer. We've named him the Joker. He's got to be joking. If I'm at one stand, he's at the other. I go to that stand, he's at that one. I mean, it's just that kind of month.
John, my co-host here, my co-creator on the campfire, John Brenkus, he was kind of baptized a swan dive into the whitewater rapids of the hunting, trapping, outdoor lifestyle. He's an aqua sportsman. He does a lot of scuba diving and spearfishing. So John Brenkus, meet John Radzwilla. We are all one of the Spirit clan.
Absolutely. John, congratulations for all your success. You're in a business that is a tough business these days, and it's awesome to see somebody plowing forward and succeeding.
Man, it is. It's a blessing, man. That's America. I mean, no matter what they try to do to us, I mean, heck, I'm American, and now I live in Texas. I grew up in Pennsylvania, but they always say, people move to Texas for a better life, and they fought all the way through it. So I feel like I'm pretty well rounded as a Texan now, and man, it's just every day is a grind, but every day is a blessing. So I love it. Now,
John, you have a win a hunt with Ted during his 2021 birthday bash. You want to tell everybody about the details?
Yeah, so listen, this year we are trying to increase our subscriber base substantially. So I thought, what a better way to do it than get with Ted and give away a hunt for every subscriber that subscribes to Hook and Barrel. Now, upon checkout, all you do is type in the promo code HUNTWITHTED, and that counts as your entry. So between now and July of next year, we're going to get a whole bunch of subscriptions in, and everybody that uses that code enters a chance to win a birthday bash hunt with Ted. And Ted could fill you in on all those details, but I couldn't think of a better place to deer hunt than with Ted Nugent, and then sit around the fire afterwards and listen to him jam. I mean, life is great.
We've been doing this for a number of years. I started providing hunts to terminally ill kids and special needs kids and families that had a special, moment in their life, and the heroes of the military that have been injured and just were looking for an escape adventure. And if I provide anything in life, I think it would qualify as escape adventure. And we found that those campfires, John is a hunter, especially coming from the great traditional state of Pennsylvania, there's something really deep and sanctuary about the hunting season campfire. John is, my buddy John Brankus has picked up on this. I think that he might have been surprised at the consistency with which we use the term spiritual. It's not what we do as white dudes in 2020. I believe is the exact same connection with God's creation as Cochise and the Neanderthals and our African forefathers, our Native American forefathers, the Jeremiah Johnson and Daniel Boones and Davy Crockett's. How old a guy are you, John, by the way?
I'm 36.
All right, as a young guy, tell us about your spiritual experiences in the family campfires of Pennsylvania now that you've moved in the different states that you get to hunt with what is your wife's name again?
Natalie.
I got to ask a question about Natalie in a minute. She's so beautiful and stupid. Between Brankus and you and me, I think we have the three most beautiful women on the planet in our lives. But tell us about where the inspiration for Hook and Barrel magazine, because it's about celebrating and promoting a lifestyle that brings us such happiness, such gratification, and spiritual confidence that we're working as stewards of God's miraculous renewable resource creation. Tell us your take on it.
Yeah, well, Ted, man, you asked two different questions there about spirituality, and then you asked about the beginning of the magazine. But I'll tell you both, because I think they kind of coincide. I mean, without God, nothing's possible. And so I'll tell you what. So I was sitting around and I was reading GQ, and I was reading Maxim and whatever else kind of lifestyle magazine that was out there, and things in those magazines just didn't jive with my lifestyle anymore. I don't wear suits anymore. I left corporate a long time ago. I am far from a liberal that reads most of that stuff anyway. And a lot of the other values and things they talked about just didn't line up. And then in the beginning of the show, I heard you talking about, the other magazines, kind of giving Hook and Barrel a little bit of plug there. And a lot of the old magazines got a little bit stuffy and got a little stale. And I love, reading the great nuggets of information and wisdom that they provide. Deer and fish have done the same thing since the beginning of time. And so I was like, what if I could create a redneck GQ? What would that look like? And literally, I was sitting there drinking a glass of whiskey and just took that bar napkin and started sketching. And I came up with the logo. And I'm a marketing guy and I'm a sucker for good branding. So I came up with the logo first, then came up with the concept, put it all together, built the foundation. A great friend of mine named Matt helped me get into Bass Pro Shops, Cabela's. And from that point on, I had no other choice but to stroke the biggest check in my life, because at that point I had distribution. No magazine starts out with distribution like we did. And God, it was a blessing. And I took full advantage of what I could and produced the best product I possibly could. And lo and behold, now we're subscribers coast to coast. We're in Bass Pro Shops in Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Arkansas. We hope to expand, and man, every day is it's just a phenomenal amount of growth. But to answer your other question about spirituality in the woods and all that, and around campfires, I didn't really get into hunting until I moved down to Texas. But what I can tell you is, no matter where I've been, Ted, you could go to church as much as you want, but until you watch that sunrise come through that tree and you look at the squirrels and the birds and the majestic deer come through, I mean, literally, I'm getting chill bumps just thinking about it. If you don't believe in God after you see that, there's something wrong with you. There really is. I mean, that's where the fall, the campfire, the tree blind, or the tree stands, the blinds, that's my church. And I love every minute of it, man. I've never felt such a deep connection.
You know what? You might have to change the name of your magazine because everybody in the chat room's going crazy over Redneck GQ. So,
That is a great title.
yeah.
You know, and you've been married to Natalie for how long, John?
Well, believe it or not, Ted, tonight is my wedding anniversary. 8 years married to Natalie. So
Well, congratulations. She's a beautiful lady, and you guys put your heart and soul into this magazine. She's like Shemaine. She's a stormtrooper for the business. She's a workaholic, and she's really helped you create this. Now, was she a hunter when you met her 8 years ago, or did you have to bring her into the fold?
no, she was far from it, man. She moved here from Manhattan. She was
Manhattan!
She's originally from Pittsburgh, but she moved down from Manhattan. She was coaching tennis at FIT and attending school there. She was a city girl. I mean, when she moved to the street that her parents moved off of, FM 423, she didn't know what FM stood for. And someone said farm to market, and she burst into tears. But, man, we're on this journey together. And so, I dragged her along, and she got to hunting. And before you know it, she shot her first deer, and she is hooked on it. But I'll tell you what she loves more, Ted and John, squirrel hunting. I've never seen a woman more ate up with shooting squirrels. I think it must be the tennis thing, how they move squirrely and they bounce around like little tennis balls, and she just goes after them. Her and her 22 mag is the dangerous combination if you're a squirrel.
Did she start hunting squirrels with a shotgun or a 22?
22.
Yeah, aim small, miss small, huh? So she's a sniper.
She is a sniper, man. She knocks them dead.
Yeah, and I explained to a lot of people that some of the greatest meat in the world is a squirrel because it's like the most organic chicken on the planet because all it eats is seeds and nuts and all natural ingredients, and that really affects the flavor of the meat of an animal, not to be confused with assembly lines, which we also salute the ranchers and farmers with their assembly lines because they feed the world, and we're a little bit spoiled nowadays. But when it comes to great meat, the venison, of course, the native people call all wild game venison, whether it's a moose or a squirrel or a pheasant or a woodchuck or a deer or a bear. So how often, now that you have a Hook and Barrel magazine, how often can you and Natalie actually get out in the woods? I got buddies that loved hunting so much, they started a hunting store, and now the hunting season eats up all their time at the store and they can't get out. That's not happening to you, I hope.
Yeah, not at all. No, I mean, seriously, I don't know what I was thinking. I hunted and fished a lot more before I had Hook and Barrel. And now, I'm up in my tree stand. I had to give myself a little gut check before. I'm like, what am I doing? It was this past weekend. I'm up in my tree checking emails. I'm like, what? Put down the phone.
Put down the phone.
Dear God, what's wrong with you, John? You got to feed your kid. Is it going to be through the deer or through the grocery store? Let's go with the deer right now.
So Hook and Barrel magazine, what is the website? I imagine it's hookandbarrel.com, just like it sounds.
Hook and Barrel and spelled out. They don't let you put the little ampersand yet on the internet. So it's HOOKANDBARREL.com.
And what's the link to get to Win the Hunt with Uncle Ted?
So all you do is go to this, you go to purchase, and then there'll be a drop down, and you go to subscribe, and at subscribe, you put in your information like you would any other magazine. But the promo code section, all you do is type in Hunt with Ted, all one word, and that registers you as a entry into the drawing.
Well, Brankus is about to get baptized into the world of aim small, miss small herbivore harvesting when he comes down to Texas this winter. What part of Texas do you live in, John?
I'm in North Texas, so I'm outside of Frisco, Texas. And
so that's not so bad. So maybe I've already worked it out. We're going to try to get Joey Jones. We're going to try to get the whole tribe together when John Brankus comes down, hopefully with his beautiful wife. And when we start zeroing in on those dates, I'll give you and Natalie a call because it would be great to witness and actually do a story. But I'm going to get to the writings in Hook and Barrel magazine here now because you go into different directions than the traditional outdoor publications. Tell us about your vision and how your vision happened to coincide with your experience that the hunting lifestyle isn't just about going in the woods and shooting a deer. It consumes a whole regimen of preparedness and training and practice and studying, not because it's a responsibility, but because it's fascinating to fulfill that responsibility, learning about wildlife, like you just said about a sunrise, where you're part of the movement of the earth. You're part of that bird song, that activity coming to life in the woods. Tell us how you focus on the editing, the writings in Hook and Barrel magazine. And again, I'm proud to write for the magazine. I think this will be my 4th issue coming up. But tell us how you encompass the widespread dynamic of the hunting lifestyle in a magazine.
Well, look, I'm not out there to compete with anybody. And I think that's the great part of it. And also, I came into the publishing world truly ignorant of what the publishing world was. And I was joking with somebody else on the phone today that if I knew now what I knew, or if I knew then what I know now, I would really question my judgment. But I came into it and said, look, I want to do something different. And how do I do that? And I sat around and thought, well, if you're lucky, let's say you hunt 10 days out of the year, maybe fish, maybe a few days more because it's easier to go find a pond than actually commit to going hunting. And because most people work 9 to 5 jobs and don't get that amount of time off. And I realized there's a whole lifestyle that we live between the blinds and the boats. So when I went to looking for what I wanted to put in Hook and Barrel, I thought, what do we do as outdoorsmen when we're not hunting and fishing? Is it drinking whiskey? Is it listening to country music? Is it listening to rock and roll? Is it driving trucks? Is it, off-roading? Is it, grilling out in the backyard? Is
all of the above? Yeah.
Yeah. And also I thought to myself, let's talk celebrities outside of the hunting and fishing world that as outdoorsmen we would gravitate towards. So I really sat down and kind of meditated on what I do. And I'm a little bit of an older soul, so I don't catch up on all that crap on E and all that other nonsense on reality television shows. My reality TV shows might be like Pawn Stars and American Pickers and all of those. So I realized that as I asked around, more people watch Discovery Channel shows and History Channel shows. So I started going towards those guys as covers. And then I start looking into, okay, there's the food and drink aspect of this whole outside lifestyle. So let's go after people like Emeril Lagasse, big offshore fisherman. I went fishing with them down in Fort Lauderdale. His fishing tournament has got a great, huge boat called the Al Dente. And whoever would have known, Emeril is completely ate up with going fishing. And then I start looking at other athletes. Who else can we have in there? So I've had Martin Truex Jr. I've had Danica Patrick. What music do we listen to? Ted Nugent, country guys. Our current cover right now is Luke Bryan. Despite the skinny jeans, and I also fall victim occasionally to the skinny jeans. And I think coming out of the rock and roll era, Ted, you may have had a few pairs yourself. So,
and loincloths.
Yeah. But he's a great outdoorsman. And what I like about guys like Luke is he goes from coast to coast talking about music, particularly country music. And then he's on shows like American Idol that goes through every single household. So that country music, that country value is going to all these households that might not ordinarily get it. So then I started really thinking about what else do we do? Is there a fashion side of this? I don't know. But if you look at some of the patterns, I mean, there's surely a trend in the different kinds of camouflage out there. So we kind of brought a little of that redneck GQ side of stuff there.
There it is.
Then we started going, let's talk about Western boots and hats and all that kind of stuff. And kind of built this all-encompassing lifestyle magazine that nobody was doing. And we just kind of dominated that section of the market, and we continued to do great things, and we just continue to do things right. And, man, we just continue to grow. So I don't know. I just thank God every day.
Well, we've always had some incredible guests on the Spirit Campfire, and one of what we expect to have on real soon is Donald Trump Jr. Tell us about the cover issue of Hook and Barrel magazine where the president's son was actually on the cover and the reaction to that.
Yeah, so Donald Trump Jr. It was awesome. We actually had to have ad pages in for ads. And if anybody knows anything about publishing, ad dollars are gold. And so we actually had to add pages in. It was one of the most received magazines. Ted, you've got cover lines on that one. You had an awesome story about going back to primitive bow hunting in there. And we actually had to print an extra run of them and ship them down to fulfill the demand. It was insane. But along with that, I mean, now that we've seen what's happened with this election, and everything is built up to it and afterwards, I'll tell you, for every 1,000 magazines we gave out, I probably received 10 death threats or just negative, just terrible emails, cussing my family, cussing my business. It was ridiculous. all over Donald Trump Jr. And it was incredibly frustrating because for me, all I would write back is read the interview. It had nothing to do with politics. It had everything to do with mentoring people and getting outside. It had nothing to do with his dad, who's in the background right now. I figured, I don't know if you had the president on the show. I figured I'd try to help you out a little bit and put him in my office. But, it was incredible, Ted. And, I had a great response from it, but the negative response was insane. But you know what? I own the magazine. I don't give a good damn. And all I did is take those kind of negative things, especially if they were, there was one guy that was a charter boat fisherman, cussing me out and saying that he was going to find me and F me up. I just put them on blast on social media, and I just let, the internet have their way with them, survival of the fittest. If you're going to come threaten my family, let's have at it. We're independently owned. So, don't talk smack on my wall. I'll just give it right back. So
isn't that amazing? Brink, as we've been suppressed here at the Spirit Campfire, and we've kept it all positive. We didn't even touch on any politics at all. We considered ourselves a sanctuary away from the fray, away from the pissing and moaning out there. And still the hate mail. I would write an article in some of the various publications that I write for, how important Mother's Day is in the Nugent family life, and how my mom would join us at deer camp, and I would get death threats for a Mother's Day article.
People are idiots, Ted. I mean, people's stupidity, I think, is increasing every year. And maybe it's just I'm realizing it more, and maybe it's been around forever, but dear God, people are dumb.
I got to tell you, I don't think the hate mail you got from the charter fisherman was actually from a charter fisherman. I have guys that write my editors and write my sponsor and go, I've been a hunter all my life, and Nugent is a disgrace. I can't believe you align yourself with Ted Nugent. He's a draft dodger and he's a racist. Those aren't hunting guys. That's some kind of left-wing doper Marxist from Palo Vera, California, that is so consumed with hate. They don't care what the content of the article. Yeah. They don't care the content of the interview. They just want to spew hate. So bottom line is, believe me when I tell you, and if anybody's qualified to tell you, it's me. When you get that kind of hate mail for just making a wonderful magazine talking about conservation and the great outdoors and the healing powers of nature, when you get hate mail for stuff like that, that is the ultimate badge of honor that you must be doing great things in life. So carry on and always appreciate that.
Look at this spread. It started off the mentor about his grandfather teaching him how to hunt outdoors, and there's Donald Trump Jr. with his son on his shoulder. I mean, how stupid do you have to be not to realize this story is about getting kids outside? It had nothing to do with whatever they thought they were complaining about.
There really are some sad conditions. Well, bottom line is I'm proud to write for you, John. And I'm proud to be part of Hook and Barrel. And again, people would go to hookandbarrel.com and just check it out. Read some of the writings, read some of the recipes, read some of the gun reviews. I mean, you touch on all different topics that certainly play a big role in my quality of life. And I have a funny feeling that the Spirit Campfire enthusiasts here with us tonight, I believe each and every one of them would love this magazine.
Man, I sure hope so. And I'll tell you what, thank you for writing for it. Every single issue has Dear Uncle Ted. I mean, you turn Dear Abby upside down, man. People write in, you write awesome answers back. I mean, this is what we need. People want to talk to you, write into us. Email Ted or email at Dear Uncle Ted or Uncle Ted at hookandbarrel.com. And this is where you can get Ted to answer your questions. I mean, I love that section. That's the best damn section in the magazine, I think, Ted.
Well, thank you for that. Brankus, there's got to be, I think we should unleash John Brankus to write a scuba diving spearfishing column. Have you done much writing in the magazine, John, on spearfishing? Because that's really a widespread outdoor activity.
Brankus, no, I haven't. I'd love to learn more about it. I mean, talk about taking the terrestrial and mixing it with the aquatic. I mean, I've always wanted to do it. We always have a saltwater fishing issue, but to actually put on camo and dive down with a spear gun and shoot a tuna or something.
Brankus, let her rip, Brankus.
Let me just tell you. Ted's been raving about, hunting forever, and I'm sure it's amazing, and I'll find out, but I'm telling you, spearfishing, the reason why I love it so much is because it is so physical. I mean, you have to train so hard to be able to hold your breath, and that's one aspect. And then you have the aspect down in Florida where you can actually scuba dive and spearfish because the conditions are very different. And it's so tactical. You're not, when you're spearfishing, it's just like you talked about, watching the sun come up. Every time you go out on the boat when it's dark and the sun starts to peek over the horizon, you're just like, oh my God, this is God's country. Yeah. And when you're under the water, it feels like you're traveling to a different planet. And what you get, you're only going to shoot what you're going to eat. And it's so gratifying. I would love to write an article for Hook and Barrel. I'd love to get people into it. It's a passion that I love, and I think something that people would really, really love it if they gave it a go.
I think it's a natural transition for the readers of Hook and Barrel and all the outdoor enthusiasts, whether you're just a hunter, a bird hunter, big game, small game, whatever it might be. I think spearfishing and doing stuff in the aquatic outdoors is a natural. Plus, John Rads, this article could talk about the preparation, the actual event of the scuba diving and the spearfishing, and then the recipes for the different species of fish that you get down there. It's got to be like one of the most delightful smorgasbords of aquatic cuisine available to mankind.
You'd love it. Ted, pulling up a Spanish mackerel like I did in this last trip, literally pull it up, just fillet it right there, eat it just pure raw, sushi style. It's just, it is the absolute best thing in the world.
That'd be perfect for the magazine, right, John?
Yeah. John, when you hook into something really big, I've always wondered this. You do something small, you could probably fight it. But if you spear like a 250-pound tuna, what happens? I mean, do you just hold on and go for the ride?
No, the spear ends up not being attached to the gun if you're going hunting for something huge.
Okay.
And you have a buoy. So if the buoy ends up going to the surface, and obviously if you're getting a tuna or something giant, it ends up exhausting itself, and then you can find your buoy and go get it. But that's it. It is a great question. The better question that people have is like, what do you do about sharks? Especially like I was down in Cozumel, and we had, all kinds of shark encounters. It's just like one of those things. You have a shark encounter, as long as you don't freak out, you're all good. And that's what's interesting is most people don't want to, go scuba diving or spearfishing because they're scared of sharks. I'm like, that's like not going for a walk in the woods because you're, scared of, pick your animal. I'm like, how often do you hear about a scuba diver being attacked by a shark? Like, you almost never hear it because it doesn't happen, because they're really smart and they like to eat dead things, not big things that are in neoprene.
Yeah.
Well, scuba diving is one of my favorite sports to do. And what I love about it is the silence. I love the buoyancy. And I really feel like you're like almost like a space explorer, because you're floating there in this alien world. You really can't breathe. And there's all these weird little creatures. And then you look down, there'll be drop-offs, and there's just these big black holes of just, these big sheer cliffs that go down. So I can only imagine taking my passion for hunting and fishing and applying it to like a really cool sport.
Well, if I ever get a Dear Uncle Ted question and it has to do with the aquatic side of our sport, I have an expert that I can consult, so I'll still be able to answer those questions.
Good, Ted.
Well, John, you and Natalie have got a great product. It's Hook and Barrel Magazine. Go to hookandbarrel.com. And again, I'm proud to join you in this celebration. I tell everybody that I do all this public stuff for conservation and the hunting sports because there's no need to defend what we do. What we do is literally perfect. It balances based on sustained yield and habitat carrying capacity the wildlife that needs that room next spring when they reproduce their species. You have to harvest the surplus annually to make room for that production. So I never defend it. And what you're doing on Hook and Barrel Magazine, what I weave into all my Ask Uncle Ted questions and all my writings, I write for Texas Fish and Game. I write for Texas Trophy Hunters Journal. I write for Outdoor Guide. I write for Adventure Sports Outdoors out of the Midwest here. And I write for Hook and Barrel Magazine. And I make sure that when you're done reading my piece, you can tell that I'm celebrating and promoting something that is really essential for wise use conservation, resource stewardship, and that brings me not just great gratification by being a hands-on participant in God's miraculous creation, but I get the best food in the world out of the deal. So that's what Hook and Barrel does. You never waste, one thing I was really impressed, you never waste your time sounding like you're defending squat. You're celebrating and promoting the perfection of hands-on conservation. So a big salute to you, young man, for creating a really quality world-class magazine. And I got to tell everybody at the Spirit Campfire, you know, there's a lot of publications out there, and you might get an article here, you might find something interesting in this one, but Hook and Barrel magazine, every issue, I read every page. The ads are interesting, the firearms and the food and the seasonings and all the different ingredients. I'm telling you, I find the magazine really fascinating and one of the best that I've ever participated in and that I ever look forward to reading every issue. So hookandbarrel.com, subscribe to the magazine. It really is a great, great publication.
Thanks, Ted. I appreciate it. And to anybody that subscribes and the readers that are already there, man, my promise is always to bring the best content possible as outdoorsmen and also the people that enjoy that lifestyle. And it almost seems that just kind of happens again by God's grace. I mean, currently in the next issue, we've got your buddy Mark Geis from Benghazi. You know, we want to do something with veterans for Veterans Day. Oz is awesome. We have Herschel Walker, you know, a buddy that I met at Fox News in the green room, and he does a whole thing about standing for the American flag and what he does for veterans. So not only is it going to be about hunting and fishing, but you're going to pick up great veteran stories. You're going to pick up great profiles. I mean, I'm always just trying to find that content that will interest us beyond the boats and the blinds. So Ted, I couldn't thank you more for that great shout out there, man. You're awesome. And I love your writing. Keep them coming. We need one for March, April, by the way. It's about fishing. So maybe you could talk to John about that.
That's right.
I approach my writing like I do on my guitar. I look for uncharted topography that I can explore sonic adventure, and I do so in my writings as well. Yeah, Brankus, you ought to consider doing a baptismal introduction piece about spearfishing for Hook and Barrel magazine.
Yeah,
I'd be honored, man. Honestly, we can go into those uncharted waters together in Hook and Barrel. We're gonna have to call it Hook, Barrel, and Spear.
Yeah. Well, the barrel of a spearfishing gun. I mean, I don't know. I don't know all the terminology in your world. It might be.
It's not a barrel, but
it's not a barrel.
Listen, yeah, what? I might hold out. If it catches fire, we're changing the name of the magazine to Redneck GQ. That's it.
Well, John, give our love to Natalie and have a great hunting season as it goes on. And thank you for covering the important issues and the important topics and not being afraid to take on the scourge of political correctness and all the denial and dishonesty that ravages through it, man.
Yeah. Well, God bless the United States. It's going to be an interesting month here.
You bet.
That's awesome.
Radzwilla, have a great season. We'll see you soon. I have a feeling we might have a new writer for Hook and Barrel magazine here.
There you go. Welcome anytime, man. Well, y'all have a blessed night.
All right.
Thanks, John. Godspeed.
Ted, so listen again, good people. And I love the fact that, I'll tell you right here, if you look at the chat room, the amount of positive response for spearfishing is pretty overwhelming. When you go back and read all the comments, you're going to be like, wow, didn't realize that the Ted Nugent audience was so into it. But I'm telling you, it's the best.
It's a natural.
You're going to share that with me.
Absolute natural. Well, that's John Radzwill. Everybody go to hookandbarrel.com. It really is a great product. And again, I want to salute Patriot Mobile because I think we're turning a lot of people on to a lot of quality of life upgrades. And if you upgrade your cell service to Patriot Mobile, I think it will send a message that God, family, country, law, and order Americans should probably support businesses that represent God, family, country, and law and order. What do you got for Patriot Mobile there, John?
Yeah, Patriot Mobile is the only conservative Christian cell company. You need to go to patriotmobile.com/Ted. Use the promo code STAND. Go to patriotmobile.com/Ted. And listen, one thing that the situation is teaching us as we all sit around the Spirit Campfire and exchange positive energy is that the world, while it becomes bigger, it becomes smaller at the same time. We all sort of need to gravitate toward those who believe in what we also believe in. And, when you find companies that you can support, this is what's interesting. And I'm not knocking, I'm not going to knock Walmart or Amazon or any of the giant retailers because they all started out as tiny little shops too. And they just figured out a business model that worked. But anytime that you can support a local business or a smaller business, a mom and pop shop like Hook and Barrel magazine or a company like Patriot Mobile, I feel like we should, if we don't, then everyone will be out of work, because most of the business, 80% of all of our businesses are small businesses that aren't made up of the big box retailers.
And that really is the fuel and the engine that drives America. And a big salute to those entrepreneurs. That's why I try to promote when a family business like this Firearms Guard. It's just a bunch of buddies of mine that I don't get anything out of this. This is a quality product that will just get rid of your moisture, eliminates moisture, and refreshes the air. All natural, organic stuff. Just a simple thing. Firearmsguard.com. A company sent me some deer calls, a little mom and pop outfit in Alaska. And these are for Sitka black-tailed deer, but it's called the Rainforest Rut. I don't know, rainforestrut.com. It's just a killer little hand-carved wooden deer call that actually works. And it's just a little family entrepreneur business. Rainforestrut.com. And then my buddy Steve in New Jersey has this great, I'm telling you, you should see the photos and the testimonials. In fact, I'm going to read one I just got before we got here, John. Mm-hmm. This came from a hunter that got a hold of this Nugent stink goo because I talked about it.
Stink goo.
Stink goo. And listen to this testimonial from a couple of two old codgers in Minnesota. Hey, Steve and Ted, I just stopped to tell you, thanks for a great product. He got the Ted Nugent Gonzo Curiosity Scent. I was introduced to your products by Ted Nugent. I ordered the 3-pack of his signature line. I am in an area of northern Minnesota for my hunting shack where we haven't had a harvest. They haven't killed a deer in 3 years. I mean, not a doe, much less a buck. I put out some of the doe in heat scent on opening day, and at 4:59 p.m., I had a 10-point buck come in, head down, looking for the source of that scent. Biggest buck I have ever harvested in 34 years of hunting in this area. By noon the second day, I had another buck on the ground. This stuff works fantastic, and I am spreading your product info to my fellow hunters. And here, I don't know if you can tell, but these old guys look like they've been hunting up in Minnesota for the last 100 years, and they are so proud of their bucks. They are so happy because it's tough. You get skunked. Like I've been skunked since our last campfire on Monday. I've been skunked day after day after day.
Wow.
I see a lot of little button bucks, small deer, but I haven't had a shot at an animal in the last 4 or 5 days. And so when a guy finally makes a kill after 3 years and then believes that this product actually might have made a difference, that's all you need to know. And if people want to, if any deer hunters out there, it's called Signal11Lures.com. Signal11Lures.com. It's a great product, and the guys are really raving about it. So that's a little mom and pop business. Can you imagine Steve in his basement bottling this stinky deer piss? What the? I mean, buy his product. He probably needs a humidifier, a descenting agent or something.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think the day that you came on and you said it's now the Ted Nugent holiday because it was the greatest hunting day ever. Was that October 19th? Am I right on that?
That rings a bell. It was an amazing. I've had some amazing days this year where the planets aligned and the deer come in, and I'm telling you, when you're, it's November 12th. This is the alignment of the deer god planets. Right now, the bucks are in serious rut. They're breeding all over the place. They're running wild. We see a lot of bucks, but we're not shooting young bucks, what used to be the trophy of a lifetime. But if you let them to grow up, they become these giant hulking stags. So on our properties here in Michigan and all around the country, more and more families are passing up on a chance just to kill a deer, but rather being more patient, I suppose you could call it trophy hunting, and waiting for a more majestic, older, mature, stag-looking beast. And not everybody needs to do that. If you want to shoot a small one for venison, you do what turns you on. But if you have multiple days to hunt, right now, John, the woods are alive with wildlife activity. The geese and the ducks are flying over. The pheasants are cackling. The birds are migrating. Huge waves of bird life going overhead. Sounds like a helicopter. And when you're in a tree 20 feet off the ground, not only are you closer to God, but you're literally like a receptacle of God's stimuli. The deer movement, you hear the deer in the leaves, and you move very slowly, and you got a buck chasing a doe, and they chase you all around the woods, and they take off. Next thing you know, a hawk comes right in front of you, and then the birds are landing on your air. It's one of the most stimulating escape powers of nature that instead of observing, you're literally breathing in the essence of God's creation. So this is a magic time of year.
That is what's incredible, you describing, watching sort of the balance of the ecosystem, seeing from big to small how everything is intertwined and connected and how you are one with nature. When you're under the water and you're seeing the ecosystem and how it works and how the coral works, and it's so inspiring. And it is, to me, that is, God's playground. You're out there and you're looking at it. When you think about, driving, Ted, and, we're all going a million miles an hour and we're passing up, this gorgeous, majestic forest on the side of the road, not stopping to think about, the miracles that are occurring every day of this incredible, delicate balance.
Well, raised in a hunting family and then going on the road playing 300 plus concerts a year, and I missed out. I never missed a hunting season, but I missed out on the slowing down and more absorbent of the stimuli of nature and understanding my reasoning predator role with the critter. So here's Uncle Ted tech tip and spirit advice on the Campfire on November 12th, 2020. I don't care how busy you are. I don't care how you're busting your ass to make ends meet and pay your bills. I wanted to share with everyone that I have a lot of land and I can take a lot of time off to hunt because I'm working hard to earn my way, but lucky me, my work is play. I make my living making music, writing about the music. I make my living hunting with the Ted Nugent Spirit of the Wild TV show, Sunrise Safaris. I write for publications about my life, my hunting life. So I have used my head to steer my American dream in those pursuits that bring me fullness. And very emphatic, one of the reasons I have stuff, I have land, I have never spent a dime on liquor, ever. I have never spent a dime on tobacco, ever. I have never spent a penny on tattoos, ever. I have never spent any money at all on bling bling, ever. I don't waste food. I don't buy groceries and then scrape food into the trash. It's forbidden in the Nugent family. So in my own way, I worked hard to earn my way. I lived within my means. I waste not, want not. My dad pounded that into our heads. If you save your money, you can buy that rifle. If you don't waste your money, you might get 5 acres where you can put up a tent. And if you continue to save your money and you don't waste it, you might get another 5 acres. And eventually, prioritization, intelligent frugality, that's really my trick, John. I mean, I have turned down, I'm telling you, hundreds of millions of dollars because I need to shut down. I need to spend time, just like not going to D.C. this weekend. I got to be a grandpa. I got to be a dad. I got to sit at the table with my wife and my family. I have to learn to prioritize my hours, my days, and my life. And I'm building up to this statement. A lot of Spirit Campfire appreciators out there already understand the powers of nature and the joys of killing your own food and balancing the herd and being ecologically responsible, environmentally responsible. But for those who don't do it, examine what you're spending your money on, Really be honest. Do you need to spend it on that? Save, because time, quality time, has no price tag. And if you can do without these expenses and these indulgences, so you can take an extra Friday and Monday off. Again, everybody has their own responsibilities and their own job descriptions. Some people can't do this. But you need to improvise, adapt, and overcome, because if you're missing out on what is happening across America in November of 2020, especially with the indecency and the criminality and the corruption and the fraud and the dishonesty that is everywhere, and it's so heartbreaking, it's so treacherous, the great outdoors, even if you don't go hunting, just get out there, sit down, find a park, find somebody with a farm that'll let you sit on a fence row. You got an uncle, you got a brother, somebody who has a chunk of land, go to the city park, go to the state park. Just go there before sunrise, sit down, and listen. John, I'm telling you, it will cleanse your soul. And I think with the frustration that people are feeling right now, we, the people of America, need some serious soul cleansing, battery recharging, and reprioritization on how we pursue our American dream. And I say that quiet time, being one with God's miraculous nature creation, will do wonders for you and your family.
Yeah, it really will. And, one thing, Ted, when, a lot of people from the outside, when they think about Ted Nugent, even the Ted Nugent audience, when people say, well, what is that? It's God, love, God, family, country, people. But most importantly, this is what I want to tell you. Every single guest who we've had, and every conversation that you and I have had, every picture that you show, every product that you hold up, every person you converse with, you are present. Ted Nugent is present for that moment. And that's what's so appealing, is that when you are hunting, you are hunting. You're not emailing, you're not thinking, you are there, and you are there to do something and to be there. And that's where God wants you at that moment. And when we gather around this spirit campfire, you've never bailed, you've never been rude, you've always been open, because that's who you are. And I feel very honored to sit beside you and to learn how to be present, and to see the number of people, the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who encounter our campfire. They're present. They hang in there. The average watch time is much longer than the average show on social media. So it's a great lesson for everyone.
Well, you're a really believable guy. I can tell you you're sincere. Everybody can tell that John Brankus is sincere. You know what you're talking about. And if the moment comes up, and I haven't seen one yet, but if it comes up and you don't know something, you are open for education. You are open for expansion. And I'd like to be able to describe myself that way, and I think I can. Yeah. So everybody at the Spirit Campfire tonight, I love you. I love that you're here. I love that you give me a voice and that you listen to the old guitar player. I love the responses and the feedback and the dialogue that I share with you on my Facebook every day. I got people, I get on my Facebook more than any human in the history. I'm on there every day. One thing I do when I get in my tree stand every day, I get settled, and before the deer activity pickup, I get on and I start answering my Facebookers. But the positive energy and spirit and attitude, the goodwill, the decency is so gratifying. Yeah. Thank you all very much. Thank you, John. Thank you, Courtney. Thank you, Herbert. Thank you, Linda and Doug and Toby. Shemaine's still over with Sasha and the kids right now. The dogs are all worn out. I'm getting ready for an absolutely spectacular November 13th, tomorrow morning, because it's a west wind and I get to go to the far side of my swamp in the morning. Nobody's been there yet, and I'm expecting a white-tailed deer orgy in the morning as the sun is coming up. So, John, thank you very much. All right, God bless everybody out there. Thank you for joining us. But here's, I think, the most important battle cry. First of all, don't forget why this is here. This campfire exists because Patriot Mobile is supporting us. Please go to Patriot Mobile. And also, there's a way in this technology to share the link to the Spirit Campfire and tell your friends about it. I would like everybody at the Spirit Campfire to mark 10 or 20 of your friends and say, you ought to come and see Ted and John next Monday night at 8 o'clock Eastern time. What is next Monday? It's the Monday before Thanksgiving. I will have Greg and Jason here. In fact, by the way, will they be here? We could do a jam live. I wonder if a jam would work on Spirit Campfire. You think it would?
It could. I actually, you know what? I know a way that we could hook it up.
We'll work on that for future Campfire.
Work on it.
But right now, it's 5 after 9. My eyes are closing. Brankus, I love you. I love you, Courtney. I love you, Herbert. I love you, America. I love all the piss and vinegar. I love the spirit. I love the attitude. And I will see everybody here at 8 p.m. for the Spirit Campfire on Monday, the Monday before Thanksgiving 2020. By the way, John, continue to pray, everybody. We're going to get through this. Come hell or high water, no matter which way it goes. Hopefully we can identify the rampant runaway fraud and deceit that is taking place in this recent election. But pray for this president, pray for America, and be strong no matter which way it goes. We're going to be okay.
Amen. God bless.
God bless y'all, man. Thanks for a great camp.